Such is the Lord, who is fit to be worshipped constantly by holy ones. It is He, indeed, who is worshipped by wise men in various ways and in various forms, such as Shiva, Vishnu, etc. Rama, now listen to the ways in which He is to be worshipped. First of all, one should abandon the body idea, the notion that I am this body. Meditation alone is true worship. Hence, one should constantly worship the Lord of three worlds by means of meditation. How should one contemplate Him? He is pure intelligence. He is as radiant as 100,000 suns risen together. He is the light that illumines all lights. He is the inner light. The limitless space is His throat. The firmament is His feet. The directions are His arms. The worlds are the weapons He bears in His hands. The entire universe is hidden in His heart. The gods are hairs on His body. The cosmic potencies are the energies in His body. Time is His gatekeeper. And He has thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and arms. He touches all. He tastes all. He hears all. He thinks through all, though He is beyond thinking. He does everything at all times. He bestows whatever one thinks of or desires. He dwells in all. He is the all. He alone is to be sought by all. Thus should one contemplate Him. This Lord is to be worshipped by one's own consciousness, not by material substances, by waving of lamps, lighting, incense, offering flowers, or even food or sandal paste. He is attained without the least effort. He is worshipped by self-realization alone. This is the supreme meditation. This is the supreme worship. The continuous and unbroken awareness of the indwelling presence, inner light or consciousness. While doing whatever one is doing, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, sleeping, breathing, or talking, one should realize one's essential nature as pure consciousness. Thus does one attain liberation. Meditation is the offering. Meditation is the water offered to the deity to wash His hands and feet. Self-knowledge gained through meditation is the flower. Indeed, all these are directed towards meditation. The self is not realized by any means other than meditation. If one is able to meditate, even for 13 seconds, even if one is ignorant, one attains the merit of giving away a cow in charity. If one does so for 101 seconds, the merit is that of performing a sacred rite. If the duration is 12 minutes, the merit is 1,000-fold. If the duration is of a day, one dwells in the highest realm. This is the supreme yoga. This is the supreme kriya. One who practices this mode of worship is worshipped by gods and the demons and all other beings. However, this is external worship. I shall now declare to you the internal worship of the self, which is the greatest amongst all purifiers and which destroys all darkness completely. This is of the nature of perpetual meditation, whether one is walking or standing, whether one is awake or asleep, in and through all of one's actions. One should contemplate the Supreme Lord, who is seated in the heart and who brings about, as it were, all the modifications within oneself. One should worship the Bodhalingam, the manifest consciousness or self-awareness, which sleeps and wakes up, goes about or stands, touches what is to be touched, abandons what should be abandoned, enjoys and abandons pleasures, engages in varied external activities, lends value to all actions, and remains at peace in the vital organs in the body. This inner intelligence should be worshipped with whatever comes to one unsought, remaining firmly seated in the stream of life and its experiences after having bathed in self-knowledge. One should worship this inner intelligence with the materials of self-realization. One should contemplate the Lord in the following manner. He is the light illumined by the solar force as well as the lunar force. His is the intelligence that eternally lies hidden in all material substances. He is the extrovert awareness that flows through the bodily avenues onto the external world. He is the prana that moves in one's nose. He transforms contacts of the senses into meaningful experiences. He rides a chariot composed of prana and apana. He dwells in secret in the cave of one's heart. He is the knower of the knowable and the doer of all actions, the experiencer of all experiences, the thinker of all thoughts. It is he who knows all parts or limbs thoroughly, who is recognized by being and non-being, and who illumines all experiences. He is without parts, but he is the all. He dwells in the body, but he is omnipresent. He enjoys and does not enjoy. He is the intelligence in every limb. He is the thinking faculty in the mind. He rises in the middle of prana and apana. He dwells in the heart, in the throat, in the middle of the palate, the middle of the eyebrows, and at the tip of the nose. He is the reality in all the 36 elements or metaphysical categories. He transcends the internal states. He is the one who produces the internal sounds, and he brings into being the bird known as mind. He is the reality in what is described as imagination and non-imagination. He dwells in all beings as oil dwells in the seed. He dwells in the heart lotus, and again he dwells throughout the body. He shines as pure consciousness, and he is immediately seen everywhere. For he is pure experiencing in all experiences, and apparently polarizes himself when apprehending the objects of such experiences. One should contemplate that the Lord is the intelligence in the body. The various functions and faculties in the body serve that intelligence as consorts serve their Lord. The mind is the messenger who brings and presents to the Lord the knowledge of the three worlds, the two fundamental energies, the energy of Jnana Shakti, namely the wisdom, and Kriya Shakti, namely the energy of action, are the consorts of the Lord. The diverse aspects of knowledge are his ornaments. The organs of action are the gates through which the Lord enters the outside world. I am that infinite self which is indivisible. I remain full and infinite. Thus, the intelligence dwells in the body. He who contemplates in this manner is equanimity itself. His behavior is equanimous, guided by equal vision. He has reached the state of natural goodness and inner purity, and is beautiful in every aspect of his being. He worships the Lord, who is the intelligence that pervades his entire body. This worship is performed day and night perpetually, with the objects that are effortlessly obtained and are offered to the Lord with a mind firmly established in equanimity. and in the right spirit. The Lord should be worshipped with everything that is obtained without effort. One should never make the least effort to attain that which one does not possess. The Lord should be worshipped by means of all the enjoyments that the body enjoys through eating, drinking, being with one's consort, and other such pleasures. The Lord should be worshipped with the illnesses one experiences and with every sort of unhappiness or suffering one experiences. The Lord should be worshipped with all of one's activities, including life and death, and all of one's dreams. The Lord should be worshipped with one's poverty and prosperity. The Lord should be worshipped even with fights and quarrels, as well as with sports and other pastimes, and even with the manifestations of the emotions of attraction and aversion. The Lord should be adored with the noble qualities of a pious heart: friendship, compassion, joy, and indifference. The Lord should be worshipped with all kinds of pleasures that are granted to one unsought, whether those pleasures are sanctioned by the scriptures or forbidden by them. The Lord should be worshipped with those that are regarded as desirable and others that are regarded as undesirable, with those that are considered appropriate and others that are considered inappropriate. For this worship, one should abandon what is lost, and one should accept and receive what has been obtained without effort. One should engage oneself in this worship at all times, established in supreme equanimity in regard to all precepts, whether they be pleasant or unpleasant. One should regard everything as good and auspicious, and one should regard everything as a mixture of good and evil. Realizing that everything is the one self, one should worship the self in this spirit. One should look with equal vision upon that which is pleasant and beautiful. Thus, one worship the self. One should abandon the divisive notions of this I am and this I am not, and realize that all this is indeed Brahman, the one indivisible and infinite consciousness. In that spirit, one should worship the self in and through all that one obtains. Without craving and without rejecting, that which is effortlessly and naturally obtained may be enjoyed. One should not get excited or depressed when faced with insignificant and significant objects, just as the diverse objects that exist and grow in it affect neither the sky nor space. One should worship the self without psychological perversion. With every object that is obtained purely on account of the coincidence of the time, place, and activity, whether they are popularly known as good or as not good. In his procedure for worship of the self, whatever article has been mentioned as being necessary for the worship is of the same nature as all others, though the expressions used are different. Equanimity is sweetness in itself, and this sweetness is beyond the senses and the mind. Whatever is touched by that equanimity instantly becomes sweet, whatever its description or definition may be. That alone is regarded as worship, which is performed when one is in a state of equanimity, like that of space, when the mind has become utterly quiescent, without the least movement of thought, when there is effortless absence of perversity. Established in the state of equanimity, the wise man should experience infinite expansion within himself, while carrying out his natural actions externally, without craving or rejection. Such is the nature of the worshipper of this intelligence. In his case, delusion, ignorance, and ego sense do not arise, even in dream. Remain in this state, O Rama. Experience everything as a child does. Worship the Lord of this body with all that is brought to you by time, circumstance, and environment, and rest in supreme peace, devoid of desire.
Whatever you do and whenever you do it, all that is worship of the Lord, whose pure consciousness. By regarding all that as the worship of the Self, who is the Lord, he is delighted. Likes and dislikes, attractions and aversions are not found in the Self independent of its essential nature. They are mere words. Even the concepts indicated by words like sovereignty, poverty, pleasure, pain, one's own, and others are in fact worship of the Self. For the conceiving intelligence is the Self. Knowledge of the cosmic being alone is the proper worship of the cosmic being. It is that self or cosmic consciousness alone which is indicated by expressions such as this world. Oh, what a mysterious wonder it is that the self, which is pure consciousness or intelligence, somehow seems to forget its own nature and comes to regard itself as the jiva. In fact, in that cosmic being, which is the reality in everything, there is not even the division into worshipper, worship, and the worshipped. It is impossible to describe that cosmic being which supports the entire universe without division. It is impossible to teach another concerning it, and we do not consider them worthy of being taught by us, who consider that God is limited by time and space. Hence, abandoning all such limited concepts, abandoning even the division between the worshipper and the worshipped, worship the self by the self. Be at peace, pure, free from cravings. Consider that all your experiences and expressions are the worship of the self. The reality is beginningless and endless, and it is not even reflected in anything that is the reality. However, since it is not possible to experience it through the mind and the senses, it is even regarded as if it were a non being. In the case of the seeker who is eager to attain freedom from ignorance and who is therefore equipped